3, 2, 1.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Broadbell Speaks.
Yes.
And today we have Nikon Don and we have Jasmine, and they are bringing their podcast vibe. They're
His and hers. Yes.
Vibe. So I'm gonna let you get to doing your little spiel first.
Okay.
Before I jump right on in, because I'm ready for this conversation.
Before we jump in, always, we're at Flux Creative Studios. The engineer of the last 2 decades, Kurt. So let it be known. Yeah.
Shouts out to Kurt.
Yes. As he say, total moron. But he does know what he's doing sometimes. So no.
All the time.
All the time. Yeah. So we jump in. You want us?
No, I want you to start.
Okay.
This was your topic.
It was.
Yeah.
So the first topic that we wanted to discuss was when a woman, so you have a relationship between a man and a woman, and they both agree to not have any kids right now. And they both want to have sex with no protection. But she ends up pregnant. She ends up pregnant, and now she wants to change the agreement. And now she's like, oh, I want it, but he still doesn't want it. Mm-hmm. So my question is, why would a woman still decide to have a child with a man who doesn't want the child? Why not do whatever, abort the child or do whatever, and then find a man who wants a child with you? Because now you bring in that child into a union that's more agreeable and has the ability to where you both will probably be under the same roof instead of one parent being here, another parent being there.
Building resentment.
Exactly. Yeah. So why go into it with that type of negative energy? And you see women do it. So it's so nice to have two women on the show to discuss it.
Our guests are first.
Okay.
I'll let Jazz go. She's a woman.
Oh, sure. I mean, me personally, I don't have any children yet, but I could imagine that it's hard once you already have a baby growing inside of you, and then you might get attached to it at that point. It's like, now I could, it may be an easier thought before you're pregnant or before you ever, consider the thought of even having an abortion or something like that. And just being transparent, I've had an abortion before, and it always haunts me. So it's like, that's the thing where it's like, it's always on my mind. I always think about who could that child have been? Like, who could that have been in my life? So it's like, I don't even care that the father, I wasn't going to be with him or something like that. It's just that could have been my child. And what if I never have a child again? Like, so, and that's a thing where it could be like, you know what? I don't even care that you don't want the child. I want to still have the child because it's a part of me now. This is a seed growing in me. And like, this is amazing.
Yeah, I understand that. The thing I think about is the fact that the child is, so all of us, we're made up of 46 chromosomes. So you get 23 from each parent. So now you have this child by this man who doesn't want the child, but that child is going to resemble him in looks and characteristic traits, even if he never is around the child. And to me, I find it hard to understand how that can be decided to go forward if the man is not on board with it.
And I don't... Oh, sorry. Go ahead. No. Is it still let me go? We can go around.
I guess the overall question is, my opinion is, everybody got a right to feel how they feel and change their mind based on how they feel in that moment.
Yeah.
But with that said, I do understand that the task that is laid out before you. You know what I'm saying? Like us as adults, or not even, I wouldn't even say blame it as like a maturity thing. I think just being human and knowing how experiences happen. You've lived enough experiences to understand that this is not going to be a pleasant experience for the child. You know what I'm saying? Like, so like in whatever way, how it happens, like you could have the child, it's not going to be a pleasant experience. You know what I mean? So I think sometimes as parents, we're selfish in the way that we look at how it comes to dealing with bringing up little people. That's how I look at my daughter. Like I tell her, I was like, yo, you're just a younger person. I'm not going to treat you like a child. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to treat you like how my parents treated me. Like I belong to them. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like no,
all the time.
You don't belong to me. I was entrusted with you. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's my job to make sure that you become who you're supposed to be. And as long as you're healthy and happy, I don't care what that is. You know what I'm saying? Like, my job is to make sure you're healthy and happy.
Right.
If whatever you're doing derails one of those things, then I'll intervene. But as far as I'm looking at, and as long as you're healthy and happy, I can be nothing more than pleased.
Yeah.
That's how I look at it. Like, I have a daughter, right? So, and me and her had this conversation. So it's like, to me, I definitely understand both sides. I get someone feeling that's how you feel. You know what I'm saying? You want to have a child. Like, oh, now, like how Jazz says, like, now I'm having a baby and it's kind of, wow, I feel now it changed the way I felt.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
about having a child.
And really not even, it's more to it than that too.
it
You
is.
can be, as a woman, because I've had an abortion too, while I'm at the place getting ready to go in,
Yeah.
I'm afraid. Y'all don't understand what goes on in a woman when you know that you're getting ready to put your body on a table to have these instruments in you to abort a human life out of you. So you start thinking about all of these things that you have to go through.
Yeah.
So at that point, it's the agreement for me to put myself in a certain situation. It outweighs that agreement that I had with you. Now, if you're a loyal type of person, and sometimes you can be loyal to a fault, you still will put yourself in that situation, as I did, because we had already had that agreement. So I'm like, okay, I'm not going to go through and have this child. But the resentment was there, you know, and then after I felt like I was super loyal to this individual to not have this child, afterwards I had PTSD. But were they loyal to the point where, hey, how are you doing? Do you think you need therapy?
They didn't care about you after.
You think you need this, or you think you because they're not in that mindset because it ain't happening to them, and they ain't took the time to research what a woman goes through when they're going through that traumatic experience. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So I right now I would tell a woman, you know, if they was thinking about continuing to be loyal to that agreement, I would like, hey, fuck that agreement, ma'am. You need to think about you. And then, and if you do decide to have the child, you need to allow that man, if he do want to walk away, then hey, you
Allow him to walk away.
Exactly. In the same way how
That's the key
a
part.
person, it's like, that's, I was going to say that too, like how there could be agreement for a man and woman to be together, have a union. If they divorce or they, you know what I mean? It's always understood, the woman's going to fight for the child. Like, it's kind of like almost like she's not going to let her child go. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think that's a maternal thing when it comes to women, like an instinct, right? Because you see it in every part of the kingdom. You know what I'm saying? Across the board, like the mother's gonna go hard for the cub in any way. So, but knowing that how man perverts all things that is under the God's son. You know what I'm saying? Like, we pervert everything.
Yeah.
So the fact that it's like some things are incentivized is a way to, like, I think in relationships where the man has custody, the woman should have to pay child support, just like how a man would have to do it the same way.
Yeah, and that's
You know
what I was
I'm
going to
saying?
say too, because even when that situation happened, it was like, I didn't look to him for anything. I was like, I'm not looking for you to pay for this or anything like that. Like, this is a decision I'm making because this is what I want to do, because I'm a student. I got things I need to do right now. I'm not ready to have a child.
Right.
But he was kind of forcing it on me, like, I think you should just keep it. I think you should do this, and I'll take care of it while you go through school. Like, you don't have to deal with this for 9 months and do all this.
that,
Like, I'm scared. Like, I don't know. I'm only certain age. Like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. So I'm like, I'm not asking you to do anything, be a part of this person's life. So if at that point, if you have a baby and you're like, you know, this other person does not want the child, then it should be on you. You shouldn't put that on the child. You shouldn't put that on the man, anything. Like, just have your child. That's your child now. That's your space. Live in that space. Don't make anybody else feel bad for not wanting to be in that space with you.
And to me, I think that's where it becomes very challenging because the man is looking at, we had this discussion and we made these standards. We said, this is what we're doing. But like you said, it changed. And I understand that, you know, because we talked about it before. When a woman gets pregnant, the hormones change, all these things.
Yeah.
So now, right. So you're feeling it, because you were saying within the first 2 weeks.
And
that's how you know you're pregnant, because the hormones have changed.
Yeah, I knew within the week. I was like, what?
And then when you find out, even if you're like 3 months along, you know, when people find out 3 months later.
Right.
You start thinking, oh, I thought that was gas. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Oh,
know,
you start-
you start going back to when
To
you feel
when you
like
start
these
feeling
rumblings.
different. Okay.
It's like happens quick that you start feeling the flood.
Like the changes in
Yeah.
your
The
body.
changes
Yeah.
in the womb, yeah.
Right.
So
Okay.
it's not something that you can dismiss, and it's just a very hard decision for a woman
Yeah.
to go through. Any woman that has had an abortion, I understand what they went through because I went through it. And would I want to do it again? Hell no. So
Right.
I do everything possible, and that's another thing. Like, did that man play a role in the responsibility to make sure she
Preventative
was
measures.
on her birth control
Right.
pill? You take your pill today.
Did you get a
You know, what type
vasectomy?
of-
Yeah.
Like,
when
did you?
you skeeting up in somebody, do you know
Right.
what type of birth control pill they own?
Facts.
Yeah.
Or she telling you, hey, this is the type of birth control pill. This is the educational piece that
Right.
people are not tuned into when they're
Exactly.
having, their pleasure and their
Right.
sex. This is important. You need to know what that person is doing to make sure that they're not having a baby.
Right.
And I agree. It does
Yeah,
fall on
especially if I
both
agree.
parties. My
Not
thing,
just the woman. I think
Right, and
it's
not
more
just the
so
woman, the
like,
man.
oh, you on
But-
birth control pill? Like,
but if the woman decides to
some
have the
shit.
baby,
You do something.
then the man shouldn't be
You got to kind of do anything. Yeah, right.
made to now fall in line because he never wanted that. So, but because you see where she's like, I'm gonna have the baby and I'm gonna make you do this and do that and whatever. And
You
he's
want to
like,
be a father. Like, that's
and
kind of
he's not
culturally.
even ready for that.
Right. Like, you know what I'm
So
saying?
now you
Culturally,
forcing them to try to do something. Then you wonder why he's failing at it because he was never ready to take on that type of responsibility. And he made it clear that he wanted.
Yeah.
So
I mean, you can still dismiss yourself and then, pay child support.
That's
No,
Yeah.
but that's
But
that part right
that's-
there.
yeah, that's
It's like,
still
that's
part
the
of
key.
it.
It's like,
You-
bro,
you
I never
asking-
agreed to have a baby. Now,
Right.
now
So
we agree
now
to have a
you-
baby
but
and
you-
support
But
each
you
other.
played a part. I
Thank
get
you.
what
If
she's
we don't
saying.
work out,
But you
Yeah,
still
you
played
Thank
a
you.
played
part.
child, but honestly,
Yeah.
you played
Yeah,
a part.
you
This
still
goes back
played
to
a part.
education too.
Yeah.
Like, but
I get
the sexual act is to.
But both
reproduce.
decided to have unprotected sex. The woman and the man both decided to do that.
I know.
So when you have unprotected sex, there is a chance, regardless. But the discussion was made to say, hey, I don't want a child. The woman said, I don't want a child either, but I want to have, because I like the feeling. It's just you and I together, and that's it. And now she gets pregnant, and now she changes the rules.
Right.
And now she wants to make him accountable for something that he's not even prepared for to deal with mentally. And now there's resentment there. So now you're bringing a child into a world with the father who's resenting that child being born, as well as the mother putting that responsibility on him, because they made the decision together in the beginning, but in the end, she made that on her own.
Right.
Yeah.
So how's that fair?
Yeah.
Because, no, hands down, we got the power.
But how's that
The
fair?
power
Now
is-
you making him
it's not
pay
fair.
child support
It's
and all
not,
of that.
It's not fair.
But my thing is,
not
if you
fair.
make that
Yeah, it's not- we
decision,
We just have the power in this
Well,
situation.
but why shouldn't a woman just
That's
take
what I'm saying
ownership?
about what man
do.
perverts, and they incentivize things like that, right? So you look
Yeah.
at welfare and stuff like that. Like, they incentivize for the man not to be in the house. That's how you get his government assistance. So it's like,
Exactly.
some women
He can't
just
be
go
he
about
can't be there.
their life doing that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Some
saying?
women
Like,
have
so
babies all the time.
All the
Right.
time.
They
collect
do.
all types of
And they keep
support.
getting more and more.
Yeah.
Right.
I
And
know.
So it's
somebody
like
that. Yeah.
when
It's like, I know someone.
I know. I understand what y'all
Terrible.
saying. But men, like what I teach my son, he's 16 years old. But whatever chick you decide to lay down with, I don't care if you have an agreement or not. Know that she's gonna have that. She has the ultimate power to still have that baby. So
Right.
whoever you choose to lay down and stick
Make sure you want a baby.
make sure that she is
Worthy.
worthy enough
Yes.
to have your child. Point
That's
blank.
it.
Period. Now, if you choose
That's it.
otherwise, then okay, yeah, that's fine. But if you bring a child into this world,
you
and-
want to step up as a man.
and I feel like that's the DNA of me.
Right.
But I know I can't tell you what to do. But I feel like we need to take care of this
Yeah.
child.
I understand
Exactly.
that
Yeah.
point
But-
when you're talking about like responsibility wise, but
Yeah.
you gotta then if you accept, if a man says, "Yo, I gotta accept the responsibility," that's a decision he has to make. But it don't mean he's not going to feel a way
He's gonna feel,
about
you know what? Feel a certain
the
type of way.
obligation of it in itself.
See, that
Exactly.
goes.
So that is the turmoil that you're now breathing in this
Right.
child, and that's
So-
what he's talking about. Like you
I
said,
get it's
like,
a lot of
now-
negative energy
Right,
around the
where-
birth of this
you're-
child.
the
It's a
toxicity of that.
Very much.
This is why.
Yeah.
This is why it's good for you to. I mean, hey, you need to evaluate what you want to do with your life.
Right.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
And the
is
world-
this pleasure? Is this pleasure gonna? If it's gonna affect the rest of your life, then hey, hey, hindsight, you would have thought totally different about this whole situation.
Right.
You wasn't
It's
even
always
gonna
at
lay down
hindsight.
with this
It's
man.
all-
I didn't
yeah.
want to
It's-
beat
it's-
Let me tell you something. But
Yeah, exactly.
look how many men, even though it's hindsight, they'll do it the same thing all over again.
But women do too.
And
yes.
That woman is
Yes.
still.
so when are we gonna evolve as humans
Yeah.
to understand that sex leads to children and maybe we should choose wiser
Right,
or
that's
choose
101.
yeah.
But like
It's
that
like-
discernment don't come from until you get them bruises. Like you don't really know
Exactly.
discernment.
definitely learn
until
from
you see enough
experience.
red
get the
flags.
bruises,
Yeah.
it's up to you to educate the generation behind.
Yeah, but
No,
it's still,
facts.
it
Yeah.
doesn't matter. So it's the old saying: you can lead a horse to the well, but you can't make him drink the water. So it doesn't. You can educate as much under the sun as you see possible. It doesn't mean they're going to take that and actually apply it.
Right.
They have
Because
to go through some type of
you have to
experience for them
endure
to-
life.
That
to-
was a
Some people
message.
gotta
I
get
should've
burned
took that.
sometimes.
Exactly.
before
You
they
gotta
get
sometimes
to
you
that.
gotta burn. Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah.
And then, but sometimes people listen, you know?
Yeah.
I mean,
And I
we do
knew
have
That's
humans
wishful
that do-
thinking a lot of
that do-
times. Like,
But
It's very
that's the
much
thing.
wishful
Like
thinking.
I
We
knew
will hope
my whole
people
life that
people do
sex
listen.
leads to possible pregnancy
I mean,
and stuff
'cause
like
it was
that.
drilled
But
in me.
I
Yeah.
wasn't
I was
taught
very
about
selective.
birth control.
Like,
Like I
can
wasn't
you-
taught about like contraceptives and all these different things like that. So I'm like my grandparents. I was raised by my grandparents, so I didn't have a sex talk. Like they never had that talk. So now I'm going into college, not knowing anything. I'm just
Right.
like, oh,
Trial
I
and
think it's
error.
a free, it's a free world out here. So it's like, it's like you said, you can tell somebody, I know that if you have sex, you can get pregnant, but I didn't think about birth control. So it's like after I got pregnant, I was like, okay, you know what? Now I need birth control. So I get what you're saying. You gotta like get burned first. And even though I already knew ahead of time that if I have sex, there is a possibility, no matter how many condoms you wear, you can possibly still get pregnant. It still don't matter. Like
Yeah.
some people still gonna be out here running wild, going crazy.
I was hard-headed. I was
Yeah,
taught
that's
very
all right.
well.
But we're just big children. A child, you can tell a child, don't touch that stove, it's hot.
Right.
They still,
Yeah,
it's the
Until they get
curiosity.
burnt.
Yeah,
They
it's-
not gonna
yeah,
know
then they're
what
like,
hot
oh.
means.
But that's
And that's the thing. You don't know what hot means.
Right.
Like you
Until you
understand
what level
what hot is. Right? It's like,
Yeah.
oh,
But
hot.
does
'cause
that mean you don't
until
take
you get
ownership
burnt.
of the mistake?
No, hold on. Let me
You take
tell you.
ownership
Right, look,
of-
peep games.
You
No,
gotta
peep games.
take
Peep games. Hold on one second. People can say this is hot. You know how to spell it, and the only resemblance of hot that you have is flames. You only see the picture of hot.
Right.
You don't know what hot is.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't know your tolerance to heat. You don't know. Like we don't know that until we touch the stove.
Right.
That's what hot is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Exactly.
so, it's like you can tell your son, "Hey, son." This is what you gotta understand. This is what you gotta understand. He's not gonna understand it until he understands it.
That's
You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like that. Like even when it comes to when I in the studio and stuff like this, like the stuff I can tell you right now, you will not get it until you experience it. Like it's impossible. Experience is going to teach us. You know what I'm saying? Like, so my best advice from my experience is to keep shooting, because the things that I would tell you about, what I can tell you right now, you'll learn by just keep doing it, and then you'll know it because you're going to keep doing it, and then it'll become repetitive rather than me telling you now. And then it's kind of like, oh, I saw that on YouTube. Until you actually apply it, it does not matter to you.
Yeah.
That's what touching the stove is. It's now about it's like that's perfect because we only know what flames look like,
Right.
but we don't know what hot is.
That's even
You know
like,
what I'm saying? Like,
we
so-
always
You're
learned
just
growing
being
up, like,
told.
don't do drugs
Yes,
and
it's
stuff like
we
that.
just know
but-
hot and you see fire.
But
And you can see people-
the point of the story is you're learning through your experience. You didn't like it. You might be resentful, but you have to have ownership of what you did. You can learn.
You're right
from
about
it.
that.
Yeah.
You can
But
learn.
in this type of
that still is a
situation,
cloth talk right
And
there.
this-
Yeah.
I'm
That's
talking about
called
this
talk.
type of situation.
But in this situation, though, because of the advancements in medicine, we can remove that. So we can make a mistake and get a null for it and be like, okay, let's remove that mistake. Because that's what happened, because this is what our agreement was. But what's happening is some women are saying, yeah, we made the mistake and we can omit it, but I don't want to. And now I'm forcing you to take
forcing you,
responsibility.
but I'm
No, I'm saying some women do.
Yeah, that's what child support is. You're
Yeah,
forcing me to take
some women do.
I mean, but
It should be if you choose that after
it
we
should-
agree
but
not
it
to have
That's a
shouldn't be.
mistake. When mistakes happen, you
But-
gotta be held
But
responsible.
that's
But
what I-
no, but
that's what I
she's
mean
doing
by
it on her
man
own,
perverts
though,
everything.
at that point.
because she has the power.
Exactly. So is that fair? Because she has the power. Because
Matter.
but no, but that's
you,
the
no, I'm
stuff.
telling you, it's not fair. I'm telling you, it's not fair. It's almost like
understand that.
it's almost
Yeah.
like we're in a man's world, and women we know we minorities. Is it fair? No.
But it is what it is.
Yes. So we maneuver through that.
Right.
So in this type of situation, we have the power, point blank, period. It ain't gonna
Right.
change, ain't gonna ever change.
All right, so
Well, it
let me
might
ask you a
just-
question. Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. Jazz, you agree with her?
I
You
get
agree
it.
with her?
I
Like,
get
you
what
agree
you're
with her? Like,
saying.
we got the power, so ultimately it's our decision. That's what you agree to?
I definitely
All right,
understand
let me
what
say
you're
it.
saying, but I don't agree 100%. I do feel like we also have the power to like make the other decision as well. So like we have the
Exactly.
decision to make this side or make that decision, but we also have the power to not make anything harder than what it is.
I
Like by
agree.
dragging the man into it and making
Right,
it
and not only
anything
that,
extra.
the
Like, I'd rather find a
child
man that actually
that's
loves
involved.
me and then
Yeah, because
let
to
him
me,
raise my child.
it
Let him
becomes
raise
What I
my
want to
selfish.
say is that
You-
right there.
You're being selfish too. Like the man is being. Everybody's being selfish in this
Yeah,
situation.
but no
yeah.
one is thinking
Yeah,
about the
that's
child
true.
because the child is not being consulted.
Well, the
So you're
child
making a
is getting ready to be
decision
murdered anyway.
But
So-
you're making that decision. But you
I
made that
double
decision, and now you got.
Is it not? Is it not about to be murdered?
But now you got a
But I
man.
want you to just say this about when you say we got the power. Is it fair? Then so what? Like when you went there,
I can't.
it made me think of something, right? So is that because, like you said, like we live in a man's world. Women, we get the short end of the stick in some way, right? So that manipulation of your power is that because the
That's the get
resentment
back.
of
Yeah.
what you feel y'all go through as okay. I just want to make. That's why I asked
know
you.
what type of woman
I
is
got
laying
you.
down with. Let me tell you something. Because she could be playing you the whole time.
Yes.
You might even know. She could be like,
Right.
oh, he's stable, such and such, and I need somebody to take care of me.
No, but I had
Poking holes in the condom and
I had a conversation with Jazz
I'm looking
about
at
that.
Jasmine now. I'm like, all right.
I had a conversation with Jazz about that before, right? And I was like, women
you.
are
Women are
programmed
crazy.
that
Yes.
way all the
Yeah.
time. So
and that mama might have been like
when we
that.
see everything that's going on,
be
especially in our
careful.
culture now, when they talk about the scammers and get a bag
Yes,
and
it's
and
a
we
whole
see the
thing.
gold diggers, we see that,
a whole
but we're not even evaluating. That was a program been instilled.
Exactly.
We've been talking about that. Like
Yeah.
the first thing your mom's gonna ask you when you bring home with, what does he do? So you're
Yeah.
you're already not brainwashed, but like
Gotta find a man with some
programmed
money.
to think of
That got a good job.
stability.
Yeah.
Got to.
So when you look at the highest stability, we're gonna reach for the top. So combine that with go getter energy.
Ooh.
That's where you get gold digger from. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a go getter. My mom said, find a man with stability. I'm going to get the most stability. You know what I'm saying? Like, so now,
Yeah.
because I'm a hustler,
Yes.
I'm going to hustle because I'm a go-getter. So I'm going to go get
Yes.
the top of the
Right.
tier.
And
That's
yeah.
a gold digger,
And we don't take
in
the
my
time
opinion.
to find out who that package really is, because
Right.
you're fine with
Even P.
everything
Game.
that
As long
is
as he look
needed.
good on the
And then
resume.
you open up that
Right.
P. Game.
open up that pretty present and there's shit in the inside.
Listen.
That pretty present.
Right.
She is all about shit. She is
Facts.
down
Oh,
for
now
herself.
I'm back to me. I gotta
Yeah.
be selfish now, right?
Right.
Even what Kevin Samuels be saying, right? Like I know y'all watch his joints, right? So even what he be saying, or the women he brings into the conversation, right? The 6-figure man conversation. I was telling Jay, I was like, how come they never ask who the guy is? They just say they want a 6-figure dude.
Exactly.
Don't matter
They
if
never
get
ask
their
who
ass
he is.
Right.
It doesn't
He
matter.
could be a
No,
psycho.
exactly.
6 figures, he could punch me in the
He could be the
Exactly.
killer. He could
Yeah.
really be the
He
killer.
could be, yes, he could be a killer.
He's a
Child niggas up in the
lifetime.
basement.
He's a lifetime
Like, it's
murderer.
Yeah.
Like
You are, as long as he's 6
Long as
figures,
he
you're
got
okay.
That's all it is. Yeah.
That's the only question or answer. I'm like, dude,
never- I don't-
look at that,
I ain't
right?
never
We're
want
not,
money
we're
that
not
bad.
evaluating that. Like,
Yeah, it's
look at your
crazy.
perspective.
It's crazy.
That's what's wrong. Like, and then
But
he's,
guys be doing the same
I'm-
thing.
I'm
They
scared.
want girls that
I'm
look
scared
a
for
certain
my
way
son.
and don't
I
know.
am scared for my son, but I have noticed younger guys, they do the same thing.
Like
Yep.
what?
They want the
They
girls that
want the
look a
girl-
certain way, or
Well, I'm talking about money and financial
Oh,
wise.
so they want
they're
the
looking for
sugar mamas.
cougars. They're looking for sugar mamas to take care of them. Yeah, I mean, so
Oh
it goes
my
both
God.
ways, but you just got to know a person.
Yes.
I mean, they have ill intentions. You know, you got to know that.
but that's what I
up
mean.
under
We don't
that
learn
ass-
discernment until we've seen enough red flags. You don't know
Yeah.
what to look for.
you got to be in
Yeah,
a
but
lot
by
of
the time-
shitty
Because
relationships
there's
before you know.
but there's
She
a
done-
masquerade in the beginning.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, yes.
Every
Oh,
But
relationship.
that's the
Yeah.
thing, you know. Well, and I know this is fairy tale land, but this is how I'm talking to my son. I'm like, yo, just because she looks nice, like get to know her a little bit more. Just hold on, be more disciplined. So what I do honor men that I meet that have that discipline factor, and their strength is more powerful than that emotion.
But that came with experience.
Oh, that might have came with experience or being taught.
That's
you know what I'm
growth.
saying?
Yeah,
because as a woman, I was taught that, so I already at my discipline level on. Oh, he fine, but let me see what he all about. Let me see what you do. Let me see what I can do.
It's a little different though, because men are always the one chasing anyway.
Right.
So at an early stage, but at an early stage,
women set traps. They don't.
Women,
That's
is there because at an early age, women are already getting
traps.
attention, starting out, and it's the men giving them that attention. Men are not really getting attention. Men are learning how to chase at an early age.
That makes sense.
So it's completely different in that regards.
Well, I do understand that, but women are taught to trap them or keep them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you're the chaser and we the keeper. You might be chasing just to get that pleasure out of me for a couple of months or whatnot. But in her mind, you caught me and now I'm going to make sure I keep you.
Yeah,
So you,
And that's why
it is.
that's why Kevin, and that's why I think that's why like
She feeling this topic.
No,
I
me
talk
too.
to my son all the time about like the women because I'm just scared for him because I see all of these.
But that's a part of it. That's a part of
women
it.
and
You
they're
wanna-
trolls and they're it is I don't know.
they're just
It's just
No, but
he
that-
gonna have to run into some
Society, that's what
Corellas
society
first before
taught.
he found the right
Pretty
one.
much.
Yeah.
But
And that's the all right, let's take that analogy, right? You say you got to run to Cinderella.
I said Corellas.
Oh, Corella.
Like some bad chicks. But yeah, you
I thought
gotta
said,
run
like,
into some Cinderellas too.
to
Like,
find
yes,
Cinderella,
to
right?
find
So
his
exactly.
Cinderella, yes.
look how many feet he had to put that slipper on. You know what I'm saying? Like that's so it's like
That is
that's
true.
what I mean
A
by
whole
we don't know until we don't know what hot is until we touch it.
Yeah, but
Until
you
it
ain't got to
touches
slip
us.
into all of the feet.
Right, you ain't got to slip in all the
But you know what I'm
vagina.
saying?
But, but that's so easily
You don't gotta get
said.
it all the vagina.
Right.
To figure out
And
which
just-
one is the right one.
Because you're speaking at it from this point,
Yeah.
you know,
You wanna be able to control his loins.
right? And we're all speaking at it from the way we would approach things. We're all individuals, so everyone has a different point of view from the lens they're looking through. So just because you were brought up a certain way, and because of that, you had that knowledge and you actually applied it. Someone else could be brought up the same way
And then,
and don't apply it. It doesn't mean you're any better
No,
and
not
they're
at all.
lesser.
Right.
but I just didn't want to get in the situation of having a. I just
Like raise a grandchild.
Yes.
Grandma.
Random
grandma.
Random
Now we down to the nitty-gritty.
That's what it comes down
She don't want to be a grandma. I don't want to be a young grandma. I'm going out, boy. I'm trying to get mine.
I'm still at the club.
She don't want to be a random
But
grandma.
listen, that knowledge goes a long
Let's
way.
get down
That
to it.
knowledge
No.
saves you from
Yes.
heartache.
No, you're
That
right.
knowledge saves you
Yeah.
from
But
18
We don't know
years
his
of
knowledge.
paying
That's the
child
thing.
support.
He gave.
You know what
I'm let me say this. Me and my mom used to have the worst type of communication relationship. Like I felt as if my mom really thought I was the screw up. You know what I'm saying? Like that's in my mind the way I took what she was saying, which is knowledge that she didn't like what I was doing or how I was going about my life or that I was messing up. So, and I got a big sister that we would define it as she messed up. You know what I'm saying? Like, so she took the street life, you know what I'm saying? Out there, drugs, like the whole shabil. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so, which I'm sure affected my mom in a way. It's like, I'm next up. I'm the oldest boy. So I'm the oldest child, like outside of my big sister, right? So it's like, oh, like, what you're doing can lead you in a path where you gotta depend on people or you know what I'm saying, or be at at some type of crossroads in your life. And I knew I had genuine heart and genuine energy about what I was doing. Like we can see it now. It's tangible now, right? So like what Hard Press is now is like what the journey it took me to get there is what she was or what I felt as a combatant about. Oh, maybe you should get a job until you get this, or maybe you should do this, or that. Maybe you should. Oh man, your lights getting cut off. Then maybe you better rethink your plan. Shit, stuff like that. So it's kind of like I felt like. Notice I'm using the word felt. I felt like what her messages were like to affect me, like to hurt me, to hurt my feelings. Like, I'm always the
not
one.
what she-
So we was always combating, right? So I'm always the one saying, nah, that ain't it. You don't know what you're talking about because you work for a living, so you don't know what it's like to be an entrepreneur. Like I'm doing it, right? So, but we had a combat. It would be like horrible arguments. You know what I'm saying? Like so. And then if you look at it now, like Jazz thinks my mom worships the ground I walk on. Like she said this out of her mouth, right? So it's like
So
she
proud of
thinks
you.
like, yeah. But it's not even that. Is I think different about what she's saying. And it's not because of the success. It's Dad. What she's saying is the messages, and I'm seeing it in my real life. Now I'm seeing I got birthed enough that now what she's saying makes sense. Before it didn't make sense because it didn't have it enough to me. Like, or what the experience she's sharing with, because it's her experiences that she's sharing with me. That's what like suggestions are. When you give your son a suggestion to do in his life, it's an experience you went through. You're trying to avoid him going through, but he's never been there. So to him, it sounds like Chinese, or it can sound like you're coming down on him, or it sounds like you're ridiculing him, or it sounds like to him. So it's gonna. It made me remove myself away from that energy because like you don't know what you're talking about, or this ain't when you was growing up. But ain't nothing new under the sun. It took me to understand that, to understand my mom. You know what I'm saying? And now what she's saying, she says the same exact things. And now I was like, damn, like, that's a jewel.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But it took me to grow to the point
thank you.
to understand that.
I might have to sit him down and say, hey.
But it's so true. So
offended when I told you this? Y'all want to
He might, you don't know how he's taking it. Right. Because you're trying to help him.
Yeah, but it could be pushing
the
him
way
in-
that he's understanding the
I
help.
will do
because I had
Derailed the help.
I was telling Tiffany one time, my son, he's now 18, but we had a conversation like a year ago, and I'm always talking to him. And he told me that he got older, he understood. But when he was 13, 14, he thought I was just getting on him all the time.
Right.
And he wasn't hearing the message.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He was just hearing the fact that I was talking to him.
Exactly.
And not the fact that I was giving him these tools
Right.
to maneuver and navigate through this world. And he got older. And he's still young, but as he experienced more and more,
He's like,
but he was honest with me, and I told him, I was like, that was not my intent.
right.
This is what I was trying to do to deliver.
Yeah.
So, and it's like now our conversations are different because he has a better understanding.
Right.
And it's still at times where, because he's young, he still don't always catch it.
Right.
But he knows that it's coming from
Your
a good place.
intentions.
Exactly. And that changes it. But we went through the same thing.
Fact,
We went through the
it's
same
like,
thing.
and that's hard. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because we don't know what the experience is from
Exactly.
from being a child that felt ridiculed, right? To now being a person that is like giving those same messages to other people. The way I give my mom's messages now is not to like I said. My mom taught us, like, she was like, you're my child. Like, she'll say things like, oh, I brought you in this world, I'll take you out.
Yeah.
Right? So you're claiming ownership, right? So now the way I deliver the message to my daughter is like, oh, no, I don't own you. You are your own person. So it's like, I had to learn what my mom was telling me, but to adjust the language enough for it to be received the way that I may have liked to receive it at the time of the message when it came through. The message came through, it sounded kind of bad. Like, oh, man. You gonna kill me. Like, you know what I'm saying? My mom don't like me. She would kill me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what it sounds like. But to a child that don't know no better, that just only saw a picture of how, you get what I'm saying? Like, until you feel the pain, until you go through those things, we don't know what discernment is. People always say, you gotta have discernment. Discernment is learned. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to see enough red flags to know what the color red looks like. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to be shown the picture. That's our whole DNA. The way we're taught about anything. You don't know how to shit in the toilet until somebody shows you how to do it.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like,
But
we have to learn it.
unfortunately, through our red flags, children are being born.
Right.
I get that. So there should be a red flag in when all right, peep game. So the dynamic that y'all laid out, a man and a woman have a discussion and they agree to not have a child. Sometimes women just agree with the man because they just want to be with the man. They're trying to trap him. So it's like, oh, when he said, yeah, I don't want kids. And she said, well, I don't really want kids either. She's never made her mind up about having children either way or one way or the other, right? It's not a strong thing. It's how he's strong about it. It's a lie, right? She's lying. All
just
cap.
say it. Just say it.
She's all cap, right? But she's only saying that because she feels like, oh, I can get him to stay around.
stay
And she
around.
want kids with me. Like,
Horrible.
so that's what's really going on. that's why she
That's
changed her
what's
mind, or it was so easy for her to change her mind, or she may have been like, I'm not gonna take my birth control this month.
Easy.
And don't communicate that to him
Don't
at
say
all.
it, tell him
That's why you gotta be like,
that we gotta be extra careful.
Right.
Matter of fact, you need to go and look
You got
at
it on
the
your
daggone
schedule.
wheel.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Like, hold on. You ain't been, and that was in the show. Was that the game? That was it was a show that showed that the dude looked at it. It was like, hold up,
You
like
ain't
Yeah.
been taking your pill.
Well, no, well,
Be nosy.
I sent Tiffany. There was a woman who worked at a hotel, and there was a billionaire there, and he was having sex with women, and she took the condom and took the semen out the condom,
Little
inserted it
turkey
into
baster.
her,
and she
and she got pregnant,
crazy.
and she got child support from that, and now she's set for life
wow.
from the
You see
billionaire.
that?
All you gotta have
True
is DNA
story.
proof to be
It's-
child
it's-
support.
So, all right. So, did they prove that he never had sex with her, and she just?
Yeah, it's a
I don't.
DNA.
Yeah,
But-
I
Or
don't-
that-
but it's
that's-
just the fact that it was his child.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I know,
you
but
need
all
to
right. So, PK,
the fact that the way it went about, yeah.
I'm asking. They know for sure that he never had sex with her, and it was like, oh no, you took the sperm out the condom, and
That
you
should be
impregnated
considered
yourself.
Yeah, because they have
That
that
should-
story.
that should be
Yeah.
considered rape.
Right, so-
But
Man,
this
that's
was,
crazy.
I don't know how later on.
when they found out,
Right.
Okay,
'Cause
all right,
that's-
bet.
that's literally
So it's like
stealing.
that right there.
That's
that,
ridiculous.
That's exactly. It's like like I said, man will pervert anything. Like you give him
crazy.
tools, we'll find a way to do everything
Oh,
with it. You give him a
exactly.
hammer, he'll find a way to
Yeah.
kill somebody with it. So it's like that's the reality of what our species done in the world, right? So.
But that's
Finding the balance and understanding the type of being you are, I think, is more important. So even when that relationship is happening, that conversation is happening, there should have been red flags. Even if the red flag is the man say he don't want to have kids, I know deep down inside I want kids. Let's stop.
yeah.
Because that should be the discernment. That's discernment right there. Like, that's a red flag. Because
Right.
if I want
You gotta
children,
pull out, like,
he don't
I
want.
kinda want
Not even
kids.
that. No, it's not. No,
But it's
when y'all
the
have the
selfishness.
conversation, right?
Everybody's
You just
selfish.
you
Right.
want this person,
Right.
So bad
So
that
it's
you're
all-
willing to accept his answer,
Exactly.
knowing that you're not being totally honest with him.
Right. No, she definitely should have been.
So that should have been the moment where that discipline you're talking about should have been shown. The will that we've been gifted with should have been shown. Like, okay,
But don't
I know.
there's women out there that's disciplined enough to actually say, okay,
Yeah,
I made
some
this
are and
social
some not.
agreement,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna follow through, even though I hear these damn machines is scaring the fuck out of me.
Right.
And
Right.
matter of fact, it was a couple of women that got up in the waiting room and they left. Like when you're in that abortion clinic, you can change your mind. You know
But
what I'm
the
saying?
thing is, though, so with everything, the way I always talk to my kids is any decision you make, the moves you make, always have a true understanding of the consequences. You have to have a true understanding of the consequences. If you do not, then you're going to find yourself where you feel like you're backed in a corner and now you just have to
fighting
make a
to get out.
decision.
Right.
Right. But you always have to be aware that, and it's easier said than done. So
No,
I'm
that's
listening to you.
don't know.
Yeah, but I'm listening to you saying that the woman.
having sex.
Right.
You're saying the same concept that I was saying that should be implemented before you partake.
But
in
that's
this
easier
person.
said than done, though. It's
Yeah,
all
both
it's
sides.
it's always easier said than done.
Yeah,
You know,
it's
it's
hard.
easy to talk about something, after we watched it all, get outlined and this is what happened here and this is what happened there. We could dissect it and say, oh, why didn't they do this? But then you go through it and now you make a decision.
realize
Yeah.
where they misstep.
Exactly.
Or you can say, "Oh, I get that." Like the fact that y'all both had abortions is why you can understand. Like, you know what? I may not make that decision next time. I don't
Yeah.
give a damn what he's talking about. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, because you know what it feels like to make one decision.
Yeah.
So the other one is already now.
But I'm
you
gonna
know
make
what?
a different decision.
Exactly.
That's
But
exactly
you'll
right.
probably have that
Preventative
conversation
decision.
early on.
But not have to make that
Yeah.
decision.
But
Like I'm taking my birth control.
Right.
but not only that though, you would have the conversation
Right.
prior
That's the
though.
point.
Yeah.
That's my
Yeah.
point. It's like
Exactly.
now you know what decision
And
to make.
actually,
That's the red flag.
and
Now
you
you
have
done
to
had
make
enough.
sure-
That I'm my back. I done felt what it feels
Feel
like.
like,
Yeah.
Now
And
that's
I
what a
never
red flag
want
is,
that
right?
emotion.
You know
And
what
you
it
gotta
is.
Make sure the woman is not like a fugazi person that's just gonna like lie about taking her birth control or something
Right.
like that. Or
We're different type of women, maybe.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
yeah.
saying? But
Exactly.
not about to
No,
lie about it.
Like,
I
I'm not gonna be
definitely
like,
don't see y'all as the woman taking the syringe or the pipe.
I don't want nobody to.
I definitely.
saying? Like,
I know.
I definitely don't see y'all as that, but I'm saying
It's crazy. Like I can't even.
that blew my mind.
That's what happens.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
That's what
raising
happens.
A child, you hear what
Yeah,
I'm
you
saying?
still have
When you
kids.
tell when your child grow up, be like,
Yeah.
you know how you was
You're a
conceived?
psycho.
It was a turkey basted. Like,
But you know, we talked about that on the
That's
show. We
crazy.
talked about having standards, having some
That's
type of
too
standard that people have to meet before even having a
That's too
child.
baby.
Because there's not any. Anybody can have a child. You could be on drugs. You could be mentally unstable. It doesn't matter.
Yes.
Right.
There's nothing to
because
prevent anybody from having a child.
There's incentives
And that's
that
what we talked
support
about.
those people.
Yeah,
and it's
the
not
money
not-
that's being made.
Oh, if I get government assistance if I have a baby and I'm not fit to be a mother or the child to be taken care of. And
But that's why-
those are people that started with good intentions. The reason why they do like you get like a foster care or something like people. I would like to think, let's say that, I would like to think it was started off of good intentions.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like somebody just saying,
Right.
that child has no,
That's what child protective
shouldn't be
services
in that
is, yeah.
position. So let's make sure we take care of the
which is
child.
good. And some foster parents are terrible. Like,
Right.
but it's like some people do it, just as a good heart. Like, oh, I want to help take
And
care of
some people
kids
do
one
it
day,
because there's
money.
It's a
mother's
paycheck.
Oh
money
yeah,
into
I
it.
really think my grandparents was doing it for the money, but they also provided a good home. Like they were good people, so it was like
Yeah,
I'm
you
collecting
make
the check,
businesses
but I'm
out of it.
also gonna make a
They
good
do,
home
yeah.
for y'all.
Yeah, it's a whole
Like,
business.
It's a constant wheel that's going.
Same thing with the
Yeah.
schooling
Go out
system,
there.
like labeling a child with a disability that
Yeah.
school gets money before they
From the
label it
state.
with a gift.
Yeah.
Like you know what I'm saying? Like so it's like, oh, there's limited resources for gifted children, but there's unforeseen resources for
Exactly.
children that are going through something or that are
Right.
are damaged in
Yeah,
some
yeah.
whatever type way, right? So you could label that as ADD, ADHD, like autism, like all these
Let's
things
get
that they
them
label.
diagnosed.
Yeah, that's
Diagnosed.
diagnose them
Let's diagnose
because
them
there's
with
a
something.
medicine that you could give them for that thing, and then that means the big pharma will pay you. Oh, I'll give you $10,000 per child
That you
like,
label
that you put in
ADHD.
this classroom,
Terrible.
and like so that school got funding for their years or whatever. How long?
Exactly.
So it's like now we gotta identify it and put these kids in the what's the name when it's like really that child just wasn't stimulated in a way that it was for him, like or for her.
Yeah, he was
Like it's like,
different
oh, this is
learner.
boring to me. Like
Yeah.
if you help them through it, or maybe they just not understanding, but you label them as slow rather than trying to understand how they understand things.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like so, it's like you can't just sit up there and talk to me. I'm going to sleep.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like so, it's like especially if it's like I'm the drawer on the desk. You know what I'm saying? I'm that kid.
Yeah.
So it's like
Oh my
I'm.
God.
But
That's the
just
thing.
talking.
Wait,
It's not
They're
gonna work.
supposed to
I
approach
had a
it.
whole conversation in the car ride line with my 10-year-old son's teacher,
Yeah, yeah.
because he goes to sleep in math class, and he goes, I don't know why I fall asleep. I know why he fall asleep.
Yeah.
Because she's boring.
Yeah.
Well,
He needs
she's
to-
teaching it one way. Like there's 4 learning styles. You're
Exactly.
supposed to incorporate all of them when you're teaching the class.
Exactly.
But we all, it's human nature. We teach the way we learn.
Yeah.
So you had to go outside of yourself to teach those
That's what
other
makes
3
a
styles.
teacher. Like you know what I'm saying? That's why I tell
Exactly.
people I'm not a teacher. I only can tell you what I did. You know what I'm saying? Like it's literally what I say,
Yeah.
right? Like people's like, oh, can you teach me? I was like, bro, I can only tell you if you can't even understand the conversation we're having now. I can't teach you because I don't know another way to get you to understand what I would say to you.
Right.
I know the way that I learned it, and I know the way that I would tell somebody how to do
Exactly.
it. But it'll be what I'm doing. You know what I mean? Like so. Ultimately, I can't teach you. I said a teacher is a special person. That person has to know how to talk and communicate to everyone.
Special
Right.
skill.
That's a teacher. Like, oh, I can
Yeah.
deliver this in such a way where anybody gonna get it. You know what I'm saying? Like so, and that be the problem with certain like. Oftentimes, I look at like Mr. Farrakhan, right? Like the way that he says things, like, oh, I may get it. But there's a lot of people offended.
They
by
don't,
it.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, or there's a lot of people that's like, bro, but he didn't. And they'll manipulate the way he's saying it because the way they feel about what he's saying.
Exactly.
And it's like, but that ain't what he said.
Yeah.
I was watching the Donnie. I be watching them old like Donahue joints when they watch like listen, like,
Yeah.
like people be on them joints. I was like, yo,
What he's saying.
them old Oprah joints. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
it's like, yo, why is these people so mad?
And he was
Yeah.
calm about
Yeah.
it.
He's always calm. Yeah.
And then you try to make him
Right.
sound like he's saying some hateful stuff. I was like, he's never said nothing about doing anything to nobody. And then the people get up and say, oh, that's like the KK. What's the difference? I was like, because we're not preaching nothing about hate. We're preaching power or instilling power into ourselves.
Exactly.
There's a very big difference in saying black power and white power, and not to be racial. I'm just saying there's a very big distinct difference in the ideologies about
exactly.
it. White power is about oppressing everybody that's not white. Black power is about uplifting everyone who is black. That's it. That's the difference. Like they're not the same thing. Yeah, exactly. It's not the same thing. So I literally had a whole argument with a dude that tried to say, oh, people talking about Black Lives Matter, right? And he was like, oh, Black Lives Matter is like the KKK, so I don't want to hear it. And I was like, bro, hold up. You ain't going to say that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because there's a big difference in saying black power and white power. And I'm not saying, like, I was like, all right, there's Swedish people or there's German people that when a certain time of year, they'll wear their shit. Are they saying everybody else shit ain't shit?
Right.
I'm not, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're not saying that.
Yeah.
So that's different than saying white power. They're saying, I'm in power. I love my culture. That's the difference. Black power is like we're trying to find our culture and we're instilling the power to get that back. We don't have a culture, right? So it's like that's why the diaspora of black people is like all across the board. You know what I'm saying? Like it's so many types of black people. Like you know what I'm saying? Like if you really want to break it down, it's like you got the Afro Americans, you got the like I can't even label all this. Like,
there's a whole spectrum. You got from A to Z.
Yes, like of the type of experience you can have as a black person. Because then you got the mixed people, the mulattoes, they call themselves. They have a whole nother experience. And when we look at that, it's like that's very different than saying ours is better than everybody's, rather than saying, yo, we're trying to find the experiences that we all can accept to uplift people that are hurting. You know what I'm saying? Like that's very a different language in general, right? So those are the things I think when it comes to even relationships that when you say, oh, have the discipline, oh, when you say, oh, he fine, but let me see what he about first. That's the knowledge that should be shared. Like, okay, I'm going to look at this before I act on X, Y, Z. Before I act on my woman, I'm going to act on my being.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Like before I act on my man, I'm gonna act on my being, who I am and who I am to people. Before I ever do anything else, let's experience that first.
Right.
And that don't happen enough. So I understand what you mean by like trying to instill these lessons into your son. That's a very good thing. And I commend you for that as a mother. Like, you know what I'm saying? Same thing as you as a father. Like, I know what that's like. And trying to deliver those messages, I'm still growing. So I can only give what I'm learning to my child. You get what I'm saying? Like as she's growing. So we're learning the same things at the same time, damn near. You know what I'm saying? Like, because what I learned is, I'm gonna give you this. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and that's the thing. It's so funny you said it because I tell mine, I'm like, look, I'm still learning.
Right, yeah.
Like there is no ceiling to this.
Right.
So as we have conversations, understand that I'm still growing too as an individual. Right. So don't think that I am flawless and untainted because that's far from being the reality.
I said this the other day and the dude was like stumped when I said it, right? I was like, when you are actually a pupil, when you want to be the teacher, you think you know everything, right? It's like when you're in the position of going through life, it's like we all got that, we all had that super eager, super entitled moment in our life where we thought like, I did it. I'm the dad dude. You know what I'm saying? We all had that moment, like in some way, right? No matter if it was like you was an athlete, it's like, oh, I need to be in the pros.
Yeah.
You know, whatever it was, like you had that moment where it's like, I knew everything. You don't really realize when you're a student that you shouldn't be a teacher until you're actually a teacher.
Yeah.
Right? So the dude's like, what do you mean? I was like, when you're a teacher, the first thing you learn is that I need to remain a student.
Yep.
That I'm always growing. That when you become an actual teacher, when you actually know some stuff and like some stuff that you could share is what I'm saying, like pass on information, knowledge, gems to the youth or to other people. When you actually learn those things, you realize I gotta constantly grow. I gotta constantly be a student. But when you haven't reached that mindset yet, or had that epiphany or enlightenment yet, you're still thinking you know everything. You're the person that's thinking, I done did all this work. I done been here. I done did this. I done did everything. Oh, you can't tell me nothing. When you're still that person, you're the furthest from a teacher. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like.
So with me, I do tell my kids I don't know anything. You know, I am still learning. Right. But what I can do is give you information that just helps life be more pleasant.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
Or from your experience.
Yeah,
from
and
my-
that's it.
yeah.
From your approach.
From my approach, yeah.
Right.
Like you,
But that's the key to say that.
Yeah.
That'd be a big
From
part
my approach,
because a parent, like I said, my mom's telling me from her approach and from her experience.
Yeah.
But she's telling me
Exactly.
like as if she knows everything. When I tell you now, my mom, like I can show you messages, she'd be like, "Oh my God, you taught me so much in this conversation." Like she now seeing, dang, this missteps as a parent. You know what I'm saying? Not to say I'm telling her you misstepped as a parent. It's just now how we communicating.
Yeah.
And then she could see it and like, you taught me there. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like,
I'm still stuck on from my approach point.
I'm saying like,
Because-
if she would
because
have
what
just
I'm-
said
what
that
I-
much, it may have changed the way I listened. That's what I'm saying about
Okay,
that
what
part.
I'm
Yeah.
thinking when you say from my approach, I'm like, okay, so the information that I'm giving him, I feel like it's going to make his life more peaceful. But I'm feeling like this is like the law of the land type of thing.
But P. Gabe,
And-
what did you say
so-
first?
the only reason why I say that is okay. We have universal laws. You
That's a
jump
fact.
from a building,
That's a
you're
fact.
gonna go to the ground.
Yeah.
So I'm not,
Every action has equal
I'm
opposite
really
reaction.
trying not to teach him
Right.
in that gray area. I'm
Right.
trying to teach him
Black and white.
just black and white.
Fact.
You know,
But see,
this
but this is the thing though.
Facts.
You go
with
bump
that.
your head,
Right.
and
Yeah.
then
P. Gabe though, like you said, I feel like it's going to make his life easier.
Right.
You can't live his life for him.
Is that and that's what
You
I
know
was
what I'm
going to
saying?
say
Like,
because like when I talk to mine, I tell them like if there's a situation, I say I'm gonna give you my approach to it, but understand this is my approach.
This is
the
what
way
I would do.
I live my life. Your life is completely different. We're not clones of one another. We're all individuals. So the way you perceive things is not going to be the way I perceive it. No matter how much I try
instill
to
my
feed
perception.
you, right?
He's not
The
gonna
way
see it
you
your
perceive
way
it
until
is
he experiences
different.
it.
So I need you to understand.
We understand that. We get it. We get it. Know that we get it. He don't get that.
But all of that-
Listen. But we get it because we experienced it.
And that's the
he
thing.
don't get it because he didn't learn it yet.
Yeah.
Like, so it's like the language itself is Chinese to
It's
him.
foreign, yeah.
So now
Until
at
you
the end of
live.
the
So
day,
just
when
keep on saying from.
Yeah.
from
Well,
the way I would do
that's
it,
the growing pain.
how I
would do
Yeah.
oh, say check this out, son. The way
Yeah.
I look at it, just saying that much changes
That's what
the
I
way you
always
listen.
say. I always say, this is my approach. You're going to approach
me
it the way
choose
you
for
see
you.
fit, but
Right.
this is what I'm telling you. This is how I would do
Nope.
it.
Exactly. Based on the
Yeah.
information you're giving me, because
Exactly.
you gotta look at, you're not even living in his
You gotta bring them all.
So you
White
really
left.
don't know.
Swipe,
Yeah.
swipe left. You don't want her.
I say all the time, if I could put you on my hip
Yeah.
and make all your decisions, that wouldn't do you any good.
It wouldn't.
Because I'm making the
That'd be
decisions
hilarious.
based on the way I live my life.
Right.
And you're not me, I'm not you.
And you have a totality of experiences already
Exactly.
under your belt. So
Yeah.
you on my hip, I'm going to take mistake. I already see the cracks in the lane. I already
Right.
see that. You don't know that's a hole right there. You don't
Yeah.
know it's a ditch until you twist your ankle.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so
Exactly.
at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't know what that can do to you. And
Yeah.
you don't know how far you can withstand the drop until you jumped off a roof. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, oh, you try to sneak out and you fell. You had to fall one time. You know what I'm saying? To know, let me get a ladder. You know what I'm saying? Like instead of trying to scale to the side of the,
Right.
we don't know those things until the tool comes out of this ain't working right. You built the table with the tools that you found to use, but if you just built it, if you should try to build a table, it's not sticking together, legs not sticking. You have to know, I need something that's gonna make it sticky. I gotta make glue.
I want to get back to those.
Necessity
I think she wants
is the mother of invention. Necessity
Oh, no,
is the
it's
mother of
adding to
invention. You
that.
know what I'm saying? Like we don't invent those tools to use in the world until it becomes necessary for us. If you're trying to give it's not necessary for our children yet because they haven't learned the things that we learned. Been in that moment. He ain't with that ratchet chick yet.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So
Not to say,
it doesn't mean
don't
nothing
wish it
right
on.
now.
I feel like because you say too, like, don't be with this ratchet. I feel like curiosity plays a major part in like a lot of the decisions that
I agree.
young people
It
make. Because
does.
that definitely played a lot of roles in my life. So
Yeah.
it's like I know I probably shouldn't do this, but I'm gonna try it anyway.
Yeah.
Like let me just say.
Yeah, but I tell mine too. I like you're going to make decisions that you know might be wrong, but you still want to do it.
Yeah.
And it's so. And I tell them that is okay. That is a part of living. Just understand
The consequence of
exactly. Just be
Yes.
fully aware. I said never walk into
Something
it
could
blind.
happen. Right.
So you still, even though you know if I do this, I might get arrested. understand that you might still do it, and I'm okay
Right.
if you still decide to do it, as long as I know that you fully
you
thought
know.
it out.
You knew before
Yeah,
you
don't
did it.
don't get arrested and be like,
what's up?
why y'all arresting me?
Exactly. You ain't mad. You understand?
Yeah.
Okay, we know how we got here.
Exactly.
Exactly.
We try to
it's-
make the situation as
It's like
controlled
now
as
you
possible.
see. Do you
Right.
like this experience?
Exactly.
That's
And
why
that's
I'm
the
saying.
thing.
I gave my
Yeah,
daughter the
it's
same
like-
analogy. Like, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But it was about drugs. Like, not that she's experimenting with drugs. It was just, I use that analogy the same way they use about, oh, you can get arrested, but do you want to go to jail? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, know where
That's
the
the
result ends. And that's
Right.
what you're talking about, the universal laws. Like, there's a equal and opposite reaction to everything.
Right.
So the energy we put out, that's what
What we're gonna
we
get
call
back.
it karma. We call it, you know what I'm saying? Blessings. We call it curses. But it's just the energy we're exuding. So when that comes back around, know that it's going to come back around for you. It's your energy. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like, if you choose to mess with somebody, bully somebody, do something to somebody, know that that's your energy when you fall and break your leg. That's it's your
you
fault.
might
Yeah.
be paying child support for 18 years.
Right.
This discussion,
Yes.
you just
If
got to
you
take
put-
ownership.
You're right.
You just got to be a part of that whack
All right, so
ass
P game. All right, so let me give you another perspective.
all,
Let me give you another
That's the
perspective
end
on
of
that right there. I got one more for that right there.
Oh,
Right?
Lord.
No. It's not against it, but it's against the communication factor. That I think that's what we're saying. It's more about the communication.
But
Yeah.
that communication
So, hold
has
on,
been
hold
on.
burned in.
No. It was lies, and that's why.
That's why it's no.
So P game. This is what exactly what I'm gonna say, right? That's why you went to the hospital. That's why y'all went by yourself. That's why you were in that waiting room at the abortion clinic by yourself, because you knew you were lying. Now, if you never communicated to that,
I never
so P
communicated.
game.
Don't
all right,
use
P
my
game.
name,
P
because
game.
I never communicated.
I was being loyal.
No.
We had the agreement.
No, listen.
Okay.
Y'all supposed to have kids? Like y'all
No,
agree?
we had the agreement that we would not, because we were.
That's what I'm saying, right? So now P game.
I was like,
have no
So, all right, so
discussion.
now, so, all right, so, all right.
right here.
So P game.
So just
right?
don't exclude us
Okay,
from
I'm
that
not gonna say you, Jazz. All right, so first is a mistake. Okay. You know,
Yes.
no, I'm saying, all right. So in your situation, you had that real life. We had a conversation. We wasn't supposed to have kids, or we're not attempting to have children together.
Exactly.
So boom, if you know that, and you knew deep down inside you was lying about, like, I do want kids though.
I wasn't.
So you
but
may
at
not
that
want kids
time-
right now.
Right.
Exactly. So now,
Yeah.
him saying, I don't want children, and not exploring or expounding on the idea of what he means by that, and saying, ever? You don't want kids ever? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, do you
Yeah.
want kids not now? Like, are we thinking, like, dissect that, right? So
I
now,
did.
right, all right, so he said ever?
We got married for 16 years, so.
Okay, all right. All right, so PK, was it shotgun
But
wedding?
before that,
But before that, in that moment, it was just I
We
was
don't
in
want kids.
college. You know,
Right now we don't
Right
have kids.
now, we don't
okay,
have
all right,
kids.
all right, bet,
Yeah.
bet.
Okay.
So now, in that communication and in that conversation, you guys making a decision not to have kids because y'all schooling is a factor in y'all life and the
Exactly.
journey. Y'all want to make sure y'all see this through,
Right.
and children could jeopardize that. Understandably, right? We get it. Y'all both have that understanding. Y'all both get that. Like, I don't want to have to, I'm trying to graduate. You know what I mean?
Right.
Whatever.
Right.
So now, when you go, and because
I was scared.
there's not enough communication or let's say strengthen the communication. I'm not trying to say y'all had a bad relationship, but yeah, like strengthen the communication to where he felt as responsible for the abortion as you, to be
Right.
there with you, to rub your back while you scared, like to be scared with you. That's not happening. So now the woman's left like, well, if I'm scared by myself, then I'm gonna leave by myself. You know what I'm saying? Like, so rather than
decision,
going
yeah.
through it, like everybody, the bravery come with the strength of the people around you. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people, you don't even, like, I know a lot of people in the hood that don't say nothing until there's a girl around that he like.
yeah.
He don't say nothing
Well, for
until
me-
the girl around he like.
For me to
Yeah.
make this clear,
Yeah.
he was definitely his ass is going to be there with me.
Oh, okay.
That's the type of chick I am.
Gotcha, gotcha.
You know, so you're going to be there with me. But he had no problem with being there with me.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
It was still, even though he was there with me, we're young.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Immature minds.
Right, right.
So I'm in my head. You know, I don't know what his thought process is
Right.
That's
or
the-
anything.
that's the issue.
And absolutely, but we had already made decisions as mature adults, like
Right.
our decisions to engage in that sexual act.
As an
You know
adult
what I'm
act,
saying?
yeah,
And
yeah.
so this is the outcome of the situation,
Right.
and that's how I was playing it in my mind at the age that I was. I was like, well, this is I got myself here.
Right.
I'm here. I got myself here. And
But you're still, and I'm gonna let you finish. But you know, we talk about it all the time. we're making decisions that are life changing, but the brain isn't even not fully developed to the age of 27.
Right.
So again, that's where we go back to having an understanding of you're making these decisions, but you are not fully aware. You think you are in the moment.
That's
We
the
all
thing I
think
said
we
about
are.
we think when you're a student, you want to be the child. Like, you know what I'm saying? That you don't
but
learn
you're
that
not,
you
because you haven't experienced enough life yet to have a full picture of what's going on. So emotions take more of a stand than anything else than logic does.
Right.
Because now the emotions are taking over.
Right.
When you get older and you've experienced life, you have more of a balance between emotions and logic.
True.
Yeah. And
makes sense.
well, I mean, I think my logic played a part in it because I still went through with it. You know what I'm saying?
But
I
imagine-
remember wanting to change my mind. That was the point that I was making. Is if it was another woman that is in that situation and it's her first time ever
And don't have
getting
the
an abortion.
partner.
And the partner could be there. If you could be in that moment and realizing what is really about to happen, like 'cause you're in it, right?
Right.
And then you'll choose to change your mind in that moment because the fear takes over.
Yeah.
The possibility
Can I
of
ask you a
like how long I gotta bleed after this?
Can I ask you a question?
There's a lot of different
Is the
It's a lot of
strength
different
that could play in your mind.
I get that. You went by yourself, right? I'm assuming. Okay.
But I went by choice by myself.
I know, I get that. But I'm saying the strength in your decision, because you said you changed your mind. Like you was dead set on.
No, I wanted to
Yeah, I
change
was
my.
busy.
I wanted to change my mind,
Right.
but I still went through with it
Right.
because I was loyal.
Right. So that's so
agree-
right. So
to
you're
the agreement,
answering my
to the
question. Yes,
agreement.
you're answering my question. That's what I was about to ask you. Like
Yeah.
the strength in your making the decision, following through, was because of him. Even though you wanted to change your mind in turn, like on my own, I would have not did this. But because of his factor in my life, whatever the agreement, the conversation, whatever that part is him.
Yeah.
Like the difference when I say Jack, like that's why I was asking her, like to try to distinguish this ideal is that you was dead set on, I'm not having kids. You know what I'm saying? So the strength to go through with it was already internal. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so
Right.
yours is like, well, I didn't really have the strength, but I had the strength in him. You know what I'm saying? And what we had.
And the faith in the
So it's
relationship.
Like, right, the faith in the
Right,
relationship.
yeah.
Not the strength to go through with it, but like I said, some people don't speak up until someone around them gives them the strength to do it. You know what I'm saying?
He
Like,
probably could
so.
have came in there and was like, "Don't do it," and I stood him like, "Get out! I'm doing this." Like, so it's like, but he could have came in there and stopped him. Like, you know,
And
babe, we don't
for-
got to
and
do
for me,
this,
it
and
was
y'all would have
just like,
stopped.
If you would have
really
fortified,
Yeah.
if he would have made you feel more
Like, you know,
comfortable,
it's okay,
with
we can go through
changing
it.
your mind. Like,
Yeah.
say he knew, like I said, the conversation not being had is the part of the fact that, like, if you would have told him, like, well, you know what,
I'm having
I
second
think we
thoughts.
can do.
Like, yeah,
I think we can make this work.
And then he
If we had
support
to-
that.
and he
like,
support
you
you.
know what?
Would you
Okay.
had left the abortion clinic?
Exactly.
So there's a
the
difference.
Yeah.
There was no conversation.
Because
So,
I was loyal to the agreement.
but if he would have supported your decision
Yeah.
to change the
To
agreement,
make a new
Yeah.
agreement.
it would
But,
have
and
left.
that you
Yeah.
don't know because
But
the communication
because
didn't
of the
happen.
communication. But
Yeah.
since we're only talking about a woman that you had the agreement, and then if she followed through or not, when I followed through the agreement, at the aftermath of it was, my PTSD, my depression,
Yeah.
my
and you had to go through
yeah.
that alone.
and
like,
that's what
but
I'm
it
saying.
starts
So if
from-
it's a woman,
Yeah.
if it's a woman in that situation, and she's like, if she comes to me and asks me for my advice,
you're from you being there,
because I was
sitting in
being
those shoes.
the shoes.
Right.
I'm gonna let her know. You might want to talk to him,
Yes.
and if you are having second thoughts, he might not be there in your life.
Right.
You know
Right.
what I'm saying? And
Got
you're
it.
gonna have to live with that consequence.
Exactly.
But you still have that choice whether you could go through it or not. Don't make that agreement that's over you. You know
Right.
what I'm saying?
Right.
Because now you are choosing what his life over your life.
Or a contract that may not even that has expiration date. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. You might not even be with
with
them in the
it.
long
Right,
run.
another
Understand,
year,
right.
nothing.
And you're choosing
Right.
this, that you might need counseling. You might
Yes.
need this.
Right.
You might
Now
need
that comes
is he gonna
from-
is he gonna pay for your counseling?
Right, that comes from the communication.
Yeah.
Even the one we're having with ourselves.
Yeah.
Like that's
And then
important.
why
We're not-
even
sometimes we're not
have-
real with ourselves.
And that goes back to me thinking, like, why even have the logic in it? Why even have a child with a man who doesn't even want one? Why have
That's the
a
red
child
flag.
walking around
first
that
one.
resembles this man every time? That's why they say, like, that people say in a song, he's like, my mother yelling at me because as I get older, I'm looking more and more like my father.
I get it. I
Because
get it.
he's not around, but
Yeah.
she decided.
She's
I get it. So
Right,
either
and she's
way,
resenting
either
it.
way, this woman it's going to be in turmoil either way.
Yeah.
And then, but what I'm trying to convey is that you don't, the emotional pieces that comes along with the decision it's not, you just can't fathom it. You know what I'm saying?
I understand. I can feel your pain now. It's like making me tear
up. If it's
up.
a woman that's genuine, like, I'm not talking about ratchet women, but if it's a genuine woman and she does want to go ahead and she really cares and she wants to go through with having this child and she changes her mind, you know, I would tell her, don't expect him to be in your life because y'all did make this agreement and he didn't want to have kids.
Exactly.
However, it is his DNA. So you have to give him that option. You know, look, I'm gonna still have this child. I'm not big on murdering my child. You know, I don't know how that's gonna affect me.
Or
and then if the man is an honorable man,
Right.
If he's honorable,
well,
if a man is
to
an
me, you
honorable
can't say
man,
that. To me, you can't say that. That's a personal.
Like, yeah.
Why would you allow?
No,
Why would you allow her
so, but
to
you
make
say,
that decision?
but that's how you defined it.
Yeah.
But why would
you can't
allow her
say
to make if she's a good person. You know
no,
that this is a good
but
woman.
you don't
that's
know that.
subjective.
Well, you're not
See,
allowed
that's
her,
the
but
problem.
it's
Subjective
honor.
demand.
But that's the excuses.
it's all
That's the
subjective.
excuses.
It's not an excuse because we're
That's
not
the excuses
everybody.
that men be making all the time about.
Yeah.
They don't
Well, no.
have to be. They don't have men are only raised to be
honor
one.
her
Men are
decision.
grown. Men
I
are
don't
groomed to be
understand
one
that.
thing. They're either groomed to be providers or what? Like what else are they supposed to be?
No,
like
we're
that's what
groomed to be
men are
providers
here
and
to be
protectors.
providers.
Like,
Bam.
that's
So
two things.
providers, protectors. So that's children, that's women and children, or dogs, or like whatever. So it's like you're providing and protecting for something. So you should. What do you feel like your purpose in life is at that point? If you're not,
But
you don't
he
got a
might-
woman,
but
you don't got a child, you don't have
He might
nothing.
not
What
feel
are
like
you
that's
doing?
the woman
like,
he should be having that child with in that moment.
Well,
It's
so if he,
just someone.
then he shouldn't be laying down
but
with
she made
anybody
that
then if he's
decision.
not here for that.
There's those red flags that we don't know enough to know not to do
You're
that.
looking at it from the
He's
end point.
Then he's missing.
You're looking at it from
chromosomes or
now.
something,
Like, you know
I'm
what I'm
not gonna agree because y'all not understanding
Right.
because you don't never know how it is to not have the power. So I don't think y'all can fully gauge what
But- but
I'm
you-
saying.
all right, so people get-
No, I understand she has a power, but I'm saying
It's like you gonna get that shot.
No,
you
no,
gotta
no.
go to work.
No.
And they say you gotta get that
Or
shot.
you gonna get fired.
Let me
They got
say,
the power.
let me
but-
say something to
They
you.
got the power
Just
over
so
your
you know,
paycheck.
in this conversation, I know what it feels like to not have power. You know what I'm saying? Like I grew up, I'm a sickle cell warrior. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
It's a September sickle cell month. And even looking at like, everybody talks about every other disease or things that people deal with because it affects everyone. This is a thing that only affects a small community of people. So we could talk about cancer all day because everybody can get it.
Right.
Just like the same way when you can say I was sick, but nobody respected it until you start saying COVID, sick.
yeah.
It's the same logic. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's the same thing going on. Like when you say, oh, you had COVID. Oh, you all right? People, I'm gonna check on you. But you can say, I was just down. I was sick, or you broke a leg. They never broke a leg. They don't check on you. It's not the same way we respond to it. So I know that in this conversation, I understand what you're saying. Like I just said a moment ago, like I feel y'all. I feel y'all. My goosebumps. I'm sweating. Like my eyes are welling up. I can feel your energy. So it's not. Don't think that just because I have a difference or a way of looking at it that I don't understand or feel you.
Okay.
And I think.
Well, thank you for saying that.
Yeah, right.
I was just like the emotion that goes around.
I get that. And I feel you. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm feeling your energy right now. Like, so don't think that in this conversation you're getting that.
Okay.
I know what it feels like. I'm not saying I know what that feels like, but I know what it feels like to be powerful. I
Right,
know what it
and
feels
that's
like
that's
yeah.
the
Okay,
part
all right.
where it makes it feels like it's hard to convey. Like when you're talking, and it's just like both people are yelling. So like not yelling, but like when it's like
passionate.
Well, yes,
Passionate.
yeah, that's,
Yeah,
it's like passionate.
oh,
Like
like-
no, you don't get in. Like because I feel that way too sometimes, and it feel like men always make you feel small sometimes, and make you feel like you
do.
can't
Yeah.
raise your voice and say what
they
you want to
always
say. Yeah.
no one has a true appreciation for anything until they endure it.
Yeah,
So-
exactly.
Facts.
If I haven't gone through what you've gone through, it's like I tell you all the time. I'm never trying to weigh what I've been through compared to what you've been through because that's not fair.
Fair.
Right,
You don't
right.
weigh that.
Right.
What I've gone through, you might look at it small, but that affected me tremendously.
Facts.
Right.
So you can't be the one to say, "Oh, well, you just went through a little bit."
Yeah,
Right.
or
Right.
because you haven't never been through this.
Exactly, because
Right.
there's
It's
no
like,
scale.
There's
Yeah,
no
there's
scale.
no-
Exactly. Thank you.
There's the appreciation that has to lie there and having an understanding of
sides.
exactly. So as passionate as you are about it, there's an understanding of the man because there's another person on the other side of it. So it's a two-sided coin. It's not just how the woman is feeling about it, because we still haven't tapped into what the man might be thinking.
But
That's exactly what I was about to say. You keep saying the woman has the power. I was like, that kind of comes from a resentment space, even the way you're saying it.
That's why I'm just telling you that it's not fair, and I'm just trying to just.
I know you're saying that,
because
but
of the
So let me
power
ask-
of the woman in that particular situation and that choice. Unfortunately,
But do you relish in that power? Like, that's kind of the energy you're giving off.
I don't know if she does or not. I'm just telling you what it is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But you know what's
I'm
funny?
just giving you the layout of the picture. I'm just painting the picture.
At the
that
beginning-
happens all the time.
Right.
That when
Yeah.
women have that power and they get to make these choices that's going to affect that individual, that man,
Yeah.
for the
But it
rest
affects
of
all
his
three
life.
of y'all.
And it affects the child. And some women don't care.
Yeah.
And this situation I'm talking about for this particular imaginary woman.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just saying, what if she's a great person? Y'all have a great friendship, a great relationship.
Yeah.
Is there any way that can be resolved with her still able to have
the
that?
But that goes back to
child?
communication. So again, you're speaking from a standpoint of all of that has been communicated once
Right.
this has been done.
Exactly.
Is,
What happened before?
is it communicated?
Well,
Is
but
it
even
not
in your
okay?
situation-
In some
But-
way,
but-
shape,
I know
or
that's
form,
right.
But let's
it's
go
like
back-
it was my decision.
That's
That's
kinda
why I
confusing.
knew
But even in
communication.
your situation, you had these thoughts, but you didn't speak it out loud. You
Right.
kept it internal.
Right.
So that's a true indication of the reality of things.
Yeah,
But-
that's why I'm asking.
Yeah,
you
saying
guys.
based
That's
on
what
this
y'all are
story.
asking.
But it's
is it a
the-
way for that man
To
honor,
let it supersede.
Yeah, to honor that
yeah.
woman that
But
that
it's-
says,
it's-
I changed my mind.
it's a guessing
I'm
That's what I
game.
said when you was sitting there with the man. We
It's-
sitting
it's
there
a
with your
guessing
man.
game, 'cause he
That's why I
doesn't
asked you
know.
that question. Would you have changed your mind if he would have supported your mind change?
I don't know because it didn't happen.
Yeah,
but I'm saying
I
for
get-
this imaginary person.
Right. So now
she
we're
goes-
shaping a new timeline, right? So
Right.
now, in that moment, in that space, I'm
She
just saying,
says,
go
I
back.
changed
You
my
s-
mind.
No, I'm saying, I'm asking you.
Okay.
I'm saying, in that moment, let's say y'all have the conversation. And you say, you know what, babe? I'm having second thoughts. I'm scared. I'm dealing with this. If we wait this long, we ain't gonna be able to do it. So we don't have time to think about it. We need to make a decision. Are we doing it? Are we going through it or not? Because I feel differently now sitting here.
Right.
I don't know how you feel. How do you feel right now? And then he may say, oh man, I don't know what you're going through, da-da-da-da. Whatever his line is back to you. You expressing that is enough to start his mind going.
Right.
Now when he starts to think about it and starts to read and feel what you're not letting him in to feel you. You know what I'm saying? Like, so when that happens,
I'm saying if this woman allowed the man in on what she was feeling emotionally, he's saying, from what I'm gathering, is his end game is saying, I did not choose to be in this situation,
Based on
and
the
I
story.
don't want to have a child, and why should I have to deal with this
Right.
situation?
But,
I
hold on,
am asking. I'm
Yeah.
just asking.
Yeah.
You know, what if this person with this end goal not wanting to have a child, and but you had this good relationship with
Right.
this woman,
Right.
You know, y'all are great friends, and you have this relationship with this woman, and she decides to change her mind. She communicates with you that she is changing her mind,
Right.
and she actually says, "You don't have to be involved. I know you. She's gonna have the baby will have the DNA of both sides. I know that,
Yes.
but this is what I'm. If she says, I really still want to go through it. You don't have to be involved. Then what would your response be? What
As a
would-
man, you
as
said.
a man,
Yes, as a
what
man.
would that be?
But it's different per individual. So the same way you just said that she changed her mind, she communicated. Once she communicated, you don't know what this man might say. He might change his mind now.
Right. So,
So-
is that
But
wrong?
then
That's
the
what I'm
door's open.
asking. Is
No,
that
it's
wrong?
not wrong to have the conversation. I'm saying
Yeah.
it's wrong if you don't communicate that and you just make the
don't.
decision
I understand
on your
that.
own.
See, we was just going like
That's what I was like,
Yeah.
that's why I said, let's go back to you. I was like, let's bring it back to what you were
Right.
saying.
That's why I said in
If
the
you would have
beginning-
told him
Yeah.
And gave him the opportunity.
Yeah.
to have the open,
Right.
would you have changed your mind? Because now he's on board
And
with
that's
you.
a-
Y'all, now the page is open. The
That's
book is
a
open.
given.
But
We
that's
both
why-
have to be able to read it. If we
See,
don't,
yeah.
we don't know what you're going through.
Right. Like I understand what you're saying now, but
Yeah.
I was.
Men are so much more intelligent. It's just
The cap.
if Kurt was closer, I would be shaking Kurt's head too.
The cap for me.
I love I love when he does that because it is a quote, and I forget who it is by, but the person that
When they say
yells
black
the
men don't
loudest
cheat.
about they are the smartest is the one that's not.
Right.
No,
But when they say black men don't
Yelling
cheat.
though. We wasn't yelling.
But that it goes back to what I said. I said
You
that
have
earlier.
to make it known.
Right.
No,
All right.
I am the man.
You're right. You're right. You're right. You're
like,
absolutely right. I said that earlier about
What's 10 plus 2?
when you're
Like,
with the student. If you're trying to be the teacher.
Yeah.
Right.
When you're the teacher, you know you should stay the student. Like that's the reality of that's one of universal laws. Like it's like we don't realize that until you have that awakening, until you understand, like, damn,
Yeah.
I really need to keep learning.
Yeah.
You become the teacher now.
Yeah.
At that moment. You know what I'm saying? Because now what you're learning, you're willing to share. But when you think you know it all, you telling everybody. You're not sharing nothing. You just really
Exactly.
telling. You just
It's
talking.
a big difference.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
But
so,
I wanted to go back to the
Yeah.
thing you said too, when you said nobody asked the man how he felt. And I was thinking, like, when we first posed the question and the whole idea, like the scenario was broken down, like the woman is the one dealing with this dilemma because
Right.
now she's about to lose this man because it sounds like he don't want to deal with this situation. But I was thinking about the man in that moment. I was like, what if he's just like super sad that he's about to lose this woman because he don't want to deal with children? And he's like, I was thinking about that episode of Girlfriends, like Joan
That's what
was
made-
dating
I was
that
thinking
dude,
about that too.
and
Yeah.
Joan like was dating this, and she loved him so much, and they loved each other. But she was like, I really want kids though. And he was just he was bursting in tears, like I don't want kids. Like I love you, but I really don't
Yeah.
want kids. And and they broke up. So it's
Yeah.
like, dang, like, but he really don't want to break up. He's like, please change your mind, please. Like, so it's like
And she
that
wants
man
the
could really
same
be
from him.
fighting. Yeah,
Right, yeah.
and
She's
she's
like,
like, no, please
your
change
mind.
your mind.
Yeah.
And that's got to
And
be
they have
really
to go
hard on
separate
both
ways.
sides. Yeah.
Well, and I would have brung that into it, but
Yeah.
the question how it was proposed is why does the woman change her
Wanna
mind?
have
It was the way
yeah.
you presented.
Yeah, the way the question
But
was
that's
like,
the key
right.
to spark the conversation to show both sides.
Exactly.
And
I love
that's
the way
what
it
communication.
Yeah, yeah.
I think it
That's
was,
what
because
was
it
the
definitely
bigger
started out
part.
kind of one sided, then it went into
and then
both
it went
sides.
to both sides.
Understanding is the key to every relationship. It's not necessarily what is being said, it's what's being understood. If we can't relay a message for it to be understood, no action can be carried out.
Exactly.
Understanding is an action. If I understand something, I move different. You know what I'm saying? I can hear you all day. Don't mean I can still stay put. And I heard you, Mom. I heard you, Mom.
Exactly.
I don't understand you though.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so like,
Yeah.
because I don't understand, you're not going to see a difference in my maneuvers.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so
Exactly.
that's a big thing in communication. Like, I tell
Yes.
people all the time, like, bro, like, it don't matter what you're saying. I don't understand you. So I'm going to keep asking
Communication
questions.
is overrated.
Right, yeah, yeah. It's
Communicate
understanding.
with me all day, but I don't have the
A
understanding.
lot of people don't know how to communicate.
Right.
I
We're
don't
lost.
understand
We
what
don't
you.
stay-
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
all lost, and I think I could say our community because that's the only community I'm in. I see a lot of miscommunication. No one's
Right.
understanding each other.
Right.
I mean, if this was an image of what was going on, we wasn't understanding what each other.
But there was an understanding of being open minded. So the thing
Right.
is,
Yes,
Right.
yes.
every conversation you're going to fall into that hole of I don't get what she's saying, and she's like I don't get what he's saying.
Yeah.
But you got to be open to continue with the
continue
conversation
listening,
and
yeah.
No
to
matter how
actually
hard.
listen. You have two ears and a mouth for a reason.
Right.
So sometimes it's like close your mouth and just listen to what they're saying.
Right.
And give them the opportunity to say what they want to say. Like if you notice, we've all been talking, and at times we're all talking, and then at times we'll stop, and one person just has the floor,
Right.
and everyone is listening, and then someone jumps in.
Yeah.
That-
Right.
I
But
like that
yeah,
too.
Yeah.
No, it's
Like
organic.
you know when
No.
you know when to open the window. Like, it's like here, it's fine.
Yeah.
So
It's like
they-
double dutch.
Right, it's like
Yeah.
jump in.
Right.
It's my turn.
I was just waiting.
Exactly.
Fucking like the like
Exactly.
I feel like I need to.
Okay.
Yes, we do.
8:15, yeah.
another
Oh,
conversation.
Yeah, we gotta wrap.
And you
it
know,
up.
this I just wanted to say we had like
Call for another
We skipped the
I know
other two.
we had a bunch of topics.
They might be hungry. They might be hungry.
We had like 3 or 4 topics.
Right,
And we
had
spent the
8
whole
right.
time.
Okay.
Yeah, we spent the whole time on this one topic.
I
Listen to people
know,
talk
But
for a certain period of time.
it's a big
I can
one.
go live
I
for 4 hours.
definitely would
and be fine.
love for you guys to come back
Yes.
and we can continue
Yes.
topics on relationships
Yes.
and
Yeah.
that and just men and women period because
Right.
Nah,
Yeah.
for sure.
that was really like
Yeah.
just to understand.
It was like a breakthrough.
Yeah, really, like, no, really. I say it all the time. Like communication is not what's said; is what's being understood.
Yeah.
It's like understanding is the key to it. Like if you're not open enough to receive it, we're going to be back and forth the whole time. You know what I'm saying? Like because you're going to be too busy trying to get your point across or nitpick at the details of my point. And it's
Exactly.
like, but that's not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I find myself saying that a lot in conversations, like especially in conversations. Or I matter of fact, take it back to my mom. She would say that a lot. That ain't what I said, Donald. That ain't what I said. That's not what I'm saying. And it'd be me not listening to her point. I'm nitpicking at the details. Those are signs of trauma. Those are signs of pain. Somebody that, if you're communicating with somebody and they start going to, no, but I said yada, yada, yada.
Because it's them triggers.
You're talking about a specific thing, right? In the conversation, it's like, but the conversation is not about that specific thing. It's an overall concept that we're actually discussing. If you detail one thing, that's a detail in there, right? It could be anything. That's a sign of defense. That's a defense mechanism. Because it makes it look like you're not talking about what I'm talking about. We're not on the same page, even though the conversation is open. So my page, or what I'm delivering to that page or adding to that page, is on topic. It just isn't detailed like yours detailed.
Right.
That would be what I had to learn about my mom. It was like, she's saying what it is, and it's universal because I've been through it enough to see it happen the same way she said it the first time.
Right.
But what she's saying isn't exactly what happened.
Yeah.
That ain't the same guy. Oh, you talking about what? There was a, like, you know what I'm saying? That's not him. He didn't do that. This guy does this and this is not this.
It happens all the time.
You know what I mean? Like, so
Yes.
even like when you're talking to your son, like,
Oh yeah, I gotta go back and like I gotta write this out. I gotta write it out.
if he
first.
respond with no, mom, because my friend is that, he's like, yo, your friend, all your friends. Because I heard my mom say that, dad say it too. Like,
But that's why,
all
we
friends ain't
say,
your friends. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Or it's like, how come, like, if your mother's talking to you and you don't hear her, but then your uncle says it. And you hear them, and she's like, that's what I was saying
trying
the
to tell
same
you.
thing. And sometimes it's who's delivering the message and the way they're delivering it.
Exactly.
You know, that's why
Everybody
it's
don't listen
easier
the same.
for an aunt, uncle, or cousin to deliver a message that the father or mother can't get through.
Yeah.
Right.
Jazz used to say to me
Exactly.
all
Like
the
a
time, like,
friend.
proximity makes a difference. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're closer to somebody, we was having a business meeting, and the things I was saying to them was all like, well, we got the research, like, right? And I was like, that was the experience. I went somewhere with them on a trip, right? And I was telling them this. I was like, yo, y'all got to post. Y'all doing 4 things a day. You got to post this, that. I was there to do this social media marketing. Like, you got to post, and you got to say this in the caption. You got to put these hashtags. This is before Instagram put the new algorithm out. And they're like, no, because my daughter works for Google and yada, yada, yada. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, telling me this is what I'm here to do. Google ain't the same thing as Instagram.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it don't even work the same. You know what I'm saying? Like, so.
Well,
she's
basically,
like,
they wasn't trying to hear you.
they wasn't trying to understand until somebody they thought was more informative than me. Like, somebody that one of their partners, this dude is, I like to blame it as like, oh, he was a dude in a suit. You know what I mean? Like, and it's like, oh,
So he listened.
you listen to him.
Yeah,
You didn't listen to the brother, but I'm trying to tell you the same thing. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I would.
go ahead.
Okay, but I would definitely like for us to do this again whenever y'all are free on a Friday or a Saturday around 2:00. Please let me know. You can go ahead and
You
schedule
said
it now.
2 o'clock.
Yeah, Friday evening, or
Saturday afternoon.
Okay.
And I will go ahead and put y'all on the books. I feel like these conversations need to be had.
I agree.
among-
For sure.
Yeah,
For
'cause
sure.
I thank you, Jasmine, because I was just like, I'm so happy you're here. Because if it was just me by myself, I would have just
It would have been over.
That's how it's always. It's
I
always.
was like, she fell back into the wall. That's why she cut.
Yeah.
I said,
I be
like,
feeling. I be feeling
started
that.
sweating.
Hear me out.
Because you got all up on the mic and your hands started moving.
Yeah, yeah.
I was like,
It's like,
I had to go into my masculine energy.
Right.
First I was like,
Gotta like, hold on.
and that's okay.
get it.
Knowing
I
about
totally
knowing
get that.
who you're
Yes,
communicating with,
I
know that
totally
we're
get
not
it.
trying to hurt you.
Exactly.
You know what I'm
Because
saying?
most time we're in the
Yeah.
podcast, it's be him and another
you
guy
calm
in the
down.
room.
Yeah.
It'd be two
Yeah,
guys in the room. I can only drop it
you
like,
just gotta
come
tell
on.
them. Sometimes they
I need
need
one
to hear
other
those
girl in
things.
here.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
One
especially
other girl.
women that feel like,
I
oh,
need
men,
I need
y'all
an ally.
always doing y'all thing.
yeah. And
We
that
can
is-
read that on you. You know what I'm saying? Like,
love
even
a
like,
good
oh, we got the
balance.
power. Y'all got
I
to
love
do
it.
shit. Goddamn.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
it's
and I
like,
wasn't trying to come off
I know
like
that.
that when I was saying we got the power, but I was just letting you know. But it's messed up. It's messed up as it
We
is.
understand.
It is.
We know that. We know that's a response to the world you lived in. You know what I'm saying? Like, so we're not taking offense to it.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I hope don't take that from me. Like, I don't
right.
take offense that you're saying, oh, we got the power.
Yeah.
We. Like you said,
And
we're
some people
logical.
abuse
Yes.
the power. I should
Yeah.
say, and some
That's why I
women
said-
abuse that type of
Yes,
power.
and that's the thing.
Yeah.
The part of it, like when it's part of like, oh, from my experience, like those little things
Exactly.
help the way the person listens. You know what I'm saying? Or the way they receive the information. Like, oh, what I would do. You know what I'm saying? If it was me, I always point to me, like, oh, I'm taking
Exactly.
you out of it. You know what I'm saying? You're
Yeah.
not involved in what I'm expressing. Like, 'cause I don't want you to feel how I feel. I'm trying to make it so it's just open, like it's not specific at anything. You know what I mean? It's not targeting any one thing.
Thank you guys for coming.
Yes.
Please let us know where we can follow you at.
Yes.
Okay,
You can follow me at Instagram, Jasmine Tranai, Tranai.
Okay.
Instagram, Nikon Don. Facebook, Nikon Don. You can Google Nikon Don.
Okay.
Found it anyway.
Don't forget his and hers.
Oh yeah, his and hers podcast.
They do it individual.
We're still working on the social media.
I don't even think
Yeah.
we don't have a social media for
Because I watch
this.
you on Nikon.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I do
I just posted
too.
on my
Yeah.
joint.
It's
Yeah.
been, it's really it was like in the testing stage, but now
Okay.
we're solidified now, so that will be coming very soon.
Yeah, we're gonna like do it full fledged. It started out
We were
of
just testing it.
me just doing that and
and
then asking
hers
females
coming
the
soon.
perspective question.
Right.
Yes,
So and
his
then
and-
somebody saw me doing it, like, yo, why don't you do? I was like, yo, you want to know something? I was thinking about this concept for a podcast, but I wanted to bring, and it was going to be just different women, period. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then just have conversation with them and say, yo, what do you think about? And like conversations like that, like just seeing the other side of it. And I think Jazz already added that because our conversations be like that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like
doing live.
yeah, like so it's like
Yeah.
or it even when I go live, stem from conversations we're having. You know what I'm saying? Like so it's like
we seem to always have
am I
opposing
tripping?
ideas.
You know what I'm saying? Like I was at that.
I think that's going to be always the case
Yes,
with men and women.
always.
And it's okay because I really feel like men and women are meant to balance each other out with
Right.
the yin and the yang.
Definitely.
If we could just have that understanding down because I learned so much from watching men and hearing what men have
Yes.
to
Right,
say.
right.
And it do bring me down and it balances me because I am emotional because I'm a woman I'm
Right.
supposed to be.
Yeah.
Right,
And
exactly.
you don't supposed to be. You're
Right.
supposed to be like, hey, sis,
right.
it's all good. We got
Make
you.
some
I'm
sense
like,
of it. Help me make some sense of it. That's it.
It takes
That's it. It's
takes
balance.
men-
It's balance.
that like what I see and our brother here like that has like he has a very soft way he talks, right? Even his demeanor is kind of like laxed. You know what I'm saying? So it's not very aggressive. So it for someone like you, just my opinion, right? Again, you see that, right? So it's like take away that I'm not
Exactly.
putting nothing on you. You know what I'm saying? Like so it's like in my opinion, like what I see, like how you say I got my masculine energy. I think that's a defense mechanism for especially black women, right?
Yes.
Like, but that's where those things happen in relationships where you get the difficult card or she's she's being a B. You know what I'm saying? These things like happen out of that energy because we're the masculine one, right? So it's like but it takes the balance. Like I said, again, the student wants to be the teacher when they're not a teacher. It takes a man to understand that, sometimes I gotta get my feminine bag and just listen. I gotta take and receive
then-
more. Let her expel that energy so that I can come back and tell you, you don't gotta deliver that to me. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like,
So that's why I was glad that you did that because I am very aware when I do go into my masculine energy.
Yeah.
I know the difference. I would rather be feminine all the time.
Right.
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 But it
I
takes
love
somebody
it.
to
But-
rock you
but
into that
yeah,
space.
it has to be rocked,
Exactly.
and that's why I love being around like men with that knowledge and from that perspective to know
Right.
where to. All men are not like that. You
Right.
know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
But anyway,
So y'all make it perfect. Like, what's it? Like,
yeah, because he's all balanced.
y'all should come and just take over his and hers one time. We'll be behind the scenes.
Well, please have us.
Yeah, definitely.
We do Tuesdays.
Because that's what it's about. It's really about perspective. It's not about me and Jazz. You know what I'm saying? So that's why it's more or less
Invite us.
having those
Yes,
conversations.
Tuesdays at 10. So if y'all want to come next Tuesday, come on next Tuesday.
Okay, well, I
Just let us know.
appreciate if he's
Yeah.
free.
I know you made your bedtime. You said 8:30, so
I thought he was going him.
might be a little late.
Yeah, him.
Oh, him. Oh, I thought he said your bedtime.
She's talking about Kurt.
Might be a little late. No, my bedtime. I don't even know.
I don't know.
It's be a little late. It happens.
Yeah, exactly. I just find myself waking up.
Yeah.
But dinner. Ooh, I love
All
it. Yes. We ain't
But
trying to
always,
keep it on
thank you for watching and listening. You can find us on TikTok at Barbell Speaks, Instagram, Barbell.speaks, our email account, brabelt03@gmail.com. And as always on YouTube, and we always ask, subscribe. It's a benefit to you because you get the updates of every show as they get posted instead of having to search and look for the show. And it's just a click of a button. There's no cost to it. It's free. And
Y'all subscribe to YouTube, Broad Bell Speaks.
yes. And then call out the,
I am.
yes.
All
we got to
right.
do it.
So I'm just going to say what I usually say. I am grateful because this was a wonderful conversation. So I am grateful. So at the end of the show, I like our guests to say I am and then describe what you are in this moment.
In this moment, or just
In this moment.
In this particular moment.
Okay.
This moment was
Okay.
high energy.
Well, I say this all the time anyway, so I am grateful for just being grateful about everything that's
Yeah.
happening in my life.
That's wonderful.
I am at peace.
Oh,
Yeah. I am continuing to grow.
yes. I like that one. And
Don't
thank
steal it.
you.
Respect.
I am.
He made me think like I should have said that.
I couldn't. I was trying to wrap it up. You know, might as well quick.
Understood.
But thank you so much for watching.
Yes.
Thank
Yes.
our guests. Thank
No
you,
problem.
Kurt. Thank you, Broadbelt. And we're out. Peace.
Yes.
Peace.
Shout out
Peace, peace.
Fusion Studio.